Hello everybody, welcome back. At the end of the day, this little community space that I built turns out to be very different. I did go back and edit it. You will see at the very end, I did not record me actually doing the editing portions just because I went into the lot not really knowing what exactly I was going to do. So this ends up being a space with 3 retail locations on it. We are going to have a small grocery store, a small clothing store, and a little cafe with a coffee bar, like the barista bar object. I realized after the fact that when you put the pastry case down that came with Open for Business, you can't actually stock it from buy mode. I think you could do that in The Sims 3 if you control shift clicked or whatever on it. I think you also had to have testing cheats on. I could be completely misremembering. You can't do that in 2 unless you have a sim go and either bring food with them or make food at the lot, because it's meant to be running your own bakery. I feel like that's a missed opportunity. I would like to go to a bakery that has stuff already there. And I know that theoretically you can do that by having a sim make stuff, put it in the case, and then taking your sim that you're playing with to that business that they don't own and then getting the pastry stuff. But that's a lot of work and I'm lazy. So if anyone knows of any mods to just stock the case without me having to do anything, I did some Googling. I don't think that my Google terms were correct in that they didn't lead me to what I was looking for, but also the Google responses, their algorithms lately, I've noticed have been absolutely terrible. I hate the AI overview. I can't remember if I mentioned this in the past. I turned off all of the Gemini related stuff in my Chrome profile, but that doesn't change the AI overview thing. There's no way to turn it off. I guess there used to be a way, but they changed that, so now you're forced into the stupid AI overview at the top. And every time I Google anything having to do with The Sims 2, and I'm very explicit about it having to do with The Sims 2, it always tells me stuff for The Sims 3 and The Sims 4. Mainly The Sims 4, because that's the current game, but never for The Sims 2 unless I scroll down and look at Reddit. I could go on a rant about this all day. I'm about to change my search engine. Anyway, so like I said, the final product of this lot is a combination cafe, grocery store, and clothing store. I also think, again at the very end you'll see this, but I also think I'm going to move the magazine racks and the game rack to the grocery store, because I think that makes more sense than having it in the clothing space. I didn't know what to do about that. I could also just make another separate lot and have it be tech and gadget related and move the cell phone kiosk there too. That handheld electronics kiosk is a default replacement, and you do need default replacements for the phone, MP3 player, and handheld game in order for it to work. I have all of those. The phone and the MP3 player are available in buy mode. The handheld game is not. That might just be because the person who did the handheld game default didn't make it available in buy mode. I don't really care either way, but I like having them on my Sims persons because sometimes they'll just whip out the game as an idle animation to get their fun up, or they'll listen to music as an idle animation. It actually helps with their motives too. I wish though that they didn't have to stand up to make phone calls and stuff. I mean, I get that this game released with no cell phones in the base game because it was 2004 and cell phones didn't come out until the University expansion, which was the first expansion pack for the game, but it would be nice if they could just access the phone from anywhere. Texting would also be nice. I'm sure there's mods for this, I just haven't looked into it. In other news, I finally finished the Janie Johnson book series. I talked about this in a previous video, but at that point I was reading the 5th book. I wasn't super far in and I was nowhere near finishing it. But the other day I literally just sat down, I read for most of the day, and here we are. I finished it. It was really good. There was, in my opinion, a really good ending to the series. I really liked the 5th book. I thought it was much stronger than the 4th book and the little ebook original interlude thing that she did. I also watched the made-for-TV movie because somebody had uploaded it to YouTube. There was a TV TV movie that came out based on the first 2 books. It's called The Face on the Milk Carton. It came out in 1995. The person who uploaded it uploaded a version of it that like it was airing on ABC Family, I think in 2009 or something, because there were ads for The Secret Life of the American Teenager in the lower third of the screen and during the end credits. I thought the movie was not that great. Like the acting was kind of subpar. I mean, it was a TV movie in 1995, but also because it covered the first 2 books, it was really rushed, and there's only so much that they could fit into like a 2-hour time slot on TV. I don't know, maybe it would have been better as a series, or maybe it would have been better to just not do it at all. Although I do like seeing page to screen adaptations. Some of them are really good in my opinion. This one was just not one of the best, but it was still interesting to watch. So now I'm reading Anne of Avonlea, which is the second book in the Anne of Green Gables series. I read Anne of Green Gables a long time ago. I think when I was in middle school, you know, the first book. And I remember the animated series, I think it was on PBS Kids or something, or maybe it was 4Kids. I can never remember. But there was an Anne of Green Gables like animated cartoon TV series. That's the one that I grew up with. I know some people grew up with like the one that was in the 80s. It's live action or whatever. I've never seen a single episode from it. I've seen like clips, but nothing substantial. And I really liked the Netflix adaptation. Well, it was Netflix here in the US. In Canada, I think it was actually like on TV. But I really liked the Netflix version. I thought it was really well done. I do think that it had a great ending to it, but I wish that they had continued it more into their college years. I would have loved to have seen it. I literally just started Anne of Avonlea though. I'm only like a couple of pages in, so I don't really have thoughts formed about it, but it's definitely like night and day writing style versus when I was just reading The Face on the Milk Carton series. In other news, I was going through my content calendar and I realized that I completely forgot alligators exist as a species in Animal Crossing. I don't know if you guys have been aware, but I've been kind of very slowly going through and ranking all of the species in New Horizons. Completely skipped over alligators. They should have been the first one, not anteaters. And I was wrong in the recent bird video. Bulls should be next, not cats. Also, I don't know what to do about bear cubs because like they're a cub, but they're also a subset of the bear. I was gonna do them after cats and cows and whatever is in between there alphabetically. I have the species list bookmarked from Wikipedia. I can't remember. There's so many different species. There really are not, but like it feels like there are a lot when you're going through and doing stuff like that. And then there are so many villagers. I've been talking about like a long time ago doing a big villager ranking tier list stream, but there's over 400 of them just in New Horizons, and I don't know if I want to do that. It would have to be like a live stream. If I did a video of it, I could do it. Like that could work. We could make it happen. But also, I might want to do brackets. I think like maybe we'll go through and rank all of the B tier villagers that I've listed, for example, and then put them against the A tier and then the S tier and so on and so forth. Like make it a bracket tournament. So then we have like our definitive villager ranking and break it up into smaller bite-sized content like that instead of doing a whole big thing. There have been so many people who've done villager rankings. I know that that's like a popular thing, or at least it was, but I don't know if I have the energy to devote to ranking 400 something villagers in one sitting. That sounds daunting to me. Also, I didn't mention this, but I am building this lot in Pont-Aven. It is a SimCity 4 terrain that I got off of Tumblr. I talked about this in a previous video. I will have it linked down below. I really like it. I did have to use the camera mods that Nope has. I don't know how to pronounce their name. You guys know who I'm talking about. That person. They have like a whole set of camera mods for both like Live, Build By, and the neighborhood, as well as I think like tab mode or something. So I've been getting a lot of good use out of those, specifically the neighborhood one, because Pont-Aven is so big. It's like on a medium-sized map. The normal neighborhood camera view wasn't letting me see everything because I couldn't really like zoom out. But with the camera mod that I have, it's really versatile. Like you can zoom and rotate and whatever. You can see off the map too, so it kind of like breaks the immersion a little bit, but I don't really care about that. I just want to make it easier for me to navigate the neighborhood when I'm trying to like move lots and whatever. It might actually be too big of a hood. I think that I'm biting off more than I can chew. I want to build this whole thing up. So far, I've done this little shopping center and a house. You'll see the house eventually. I've made families. Well, I've made 2 families that are in the bin that I would like to move in eventually once things are more built up. I might go in and create more families and create a sim. I don't want to download anybody. I could also use some of the bin families, but I really don't want to. I kind of just want to like fill them up with my people. I've been working off and on a book. I think I mentioned this in the past. It's like a fantasy science fiction sort of vibe. Nowhere near done with it, but I have my roster of characters and I've been kind of wanting to put them in this neighborhood because it's not going to be populated by Mortimer Goth, for example, even though he died in this game. More on that later in a future video. I want to do that and then kind of like play out their lives like to the lore of my book that I have, even though it's going to be like totally different, you know, plot wise, setting wise, whatever, like the relationships and stuff. I want to play around with it because I feel like that might help me weirdly draw inspiration to write again, because I haven't done that in a very long time. I've been focused more on reading and playing games, which are both fun hobbies for me, and so is writing. I love writing, but there's not enough time in the day. Do you guys ever feel that? There's never enough hours in the day or days in the week or whatever to get stuff done unless you don't sleep. And I need to sleep. The other day, I slept until 12 p.m. and I never do that. The only time that I could think of in recent memory that I've slept until around 12 p.m. is when I've been sick. And that was like a couple of years ago. I think I was just too overtired. It's not like I had gone to bed ridiculously late leading up to that, but when I did wake up, I felt very well rested. That has not happened again. I've been better about my whole sleep schedule. I've been going to bed a little later than anticipated, but I've at least been like getting up in a normal time because my schedule is like kind of all over the place right now in terms of like life. I'm sure you guys can relate. But anyway, we are done. I'm looking forward to my Sims visiting this lot here. I really like how it came out. I am going to move around like the cell phone kiosk and the little magazine and game racks. I want to call it a book rack, the magazine one, but I really like this. It's very basic. I think that it should be basic because it is just a little strip mall shopping center. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments, feedback, and suggestions down below and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.